could be really cute.
Pet the snake.
Fuzzy snake.
Yeah.
Or it could be really terrifying.
Right.
Yeah, that just reminds
It's
me
got eyelashes.
like centipedes.
It's
Like,
purring.
that's what it reminds me
Right.
of. I don't like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Or be like a really big caterpillar.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Be weird like caterpillars.
Yeah.
They're all
God.
cuddly.
Weird. Yeah. Ooh, that would be weird. Have it like crawl up to you and just like.
Yeah.
Okay, what are
Rub
we
its
doing?
face.
We're doing the intro.
We're talking about Prospect.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
We got distracted.
Yeah, but that's
Talking
okay.
about furry snakes.
Furry snakes. Is that a weird thing? Or
yeah,
not?
I think that's a weird thing. I
So
think
it
it's a
makes me
weird
uncomfortable.
thing.
It makes me uncomfortable, but I don't like snakes to begin with.
Whatever. I don't know. We
This
talked
is Prospect verse 2.
Lift off! My phone's a rocket.
Clearly. So we're gonna pick up where we left off last week.
Yes. We only got partway through our conversation last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last
there's a lot
week-
to talk about.
We were talking about verse. We were talking. I already blanked. What are we talking about?
After kind of the first half of the song, I take over as a lot of the lead singing. I do the verse and then the bridge that comes after that second chorus. And how Riley writes lyrics in general, which we were actually talking about earlier today,
It was a good
that I
discussion.
think is kind of a cool idea. On the superficial level, you know, you can look at it and it works. It's really nice. It makes a lot of sense. It's really straightforward. It's easy to understand. It doesn't feel like you're listening to a song that was written by like a bridge troll or something that's always talking in riddles and metaphors and similes and rhymes, like listening to MF Doom or Lupe Fiasco or something, which I still think is really cool, but like it's not the most easy thing to understand. So Riley's really good at writing the stuff that is really straightforward and makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, there's more layers to everything that happens, and so you can interpret it on all these different levels, which I think is really awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I've been reading this book about screenplay writing, like different philosophies behind like how to compose dialogue and scenes and like general plot structure of writing stories. And I realized that Prospect, if you choose to look at it this way, Prospect fits in really nicely with a heroic comedy from like the old Greek play, or on the same line in kind of a silly way, you could think of it as like a romantic comedy. But rather than falling in love with one person, it's falling in love with all people,
Yes. I like
which is cool. Part of the idea that comes from like old Greek plays is this idea of fate, that no matter what you do, the fates are still going to be what they're going to be. That was the theme of Greek playwrights. The famous one of Oedipus that Riley and I were talking about earlier. The beginning of the play, the prophecy is told that Oedipus is going to kill his dad and sleep with his mom. The entire play, he's trying to avoid that. He doesn't want that to happen, and then it happens anyway. Fight fate.
It's not a big old beer.
I can see how it would look like.
It is a really big jug.
I'll just talk about poetry for days. But so now relating that specifically to Prospect, which is what we care about. The bridge, love for all and all for love now. Everything falls into its place now. And, it's an inherent property of human nature that we are going to love each other. Even though we're not there yet, it's going to happen, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, cool, definitely.
And so then the second verse, which comes right before that, in my mind I split it up into two big chunks. So there's the first half. It's a little bit more like poetic as opposed to the conversation that happens in the second half. Continue the idea that Emma started in the first verse, that it's possible to change the world and to make the world a better place for everybody. Take the blind and make them see. Take the people that are doubting, the people that are more pessimistic to what's going on, and make them see the beauty of possibility. I believe that's also probably a reference to Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so that too, like you can look at them in the two different ways and they're equally valid and they're just as cool no matter how you look at it.
Absolutely.
Take a pawn and make a king, lift everybody up regardless of who they are and what kind of background they have. they are just as special of a human being as anybody else out there.
Blow on your tea, sir.
It's just really hot still.
Well, that's why you should
set
get
it back on the
fermented
table and let it drink.
Let it drink.
Let it drink.
I'm gonna let it drink. Let it drink.
So
then the next line, which you talked about a little bit, who made man's mouth and who do we look to now? A reference to Moses and the story behind Moses and this idea of believing in yourself. Who do we look to now? Who do we look to for inspiration? Who do we look to for motivation? You can also look at those two lines in a more general sense of just where did we come from and where are we going to go? And something about Cotton Eye Joe. And that leads us into the second half of the second verse, which to me becomes a conversation. Even though I play both sides of the conversation, the first person is being a little bit more pessimistic. There is life. Life leaves what was vain. Life is difficult and beats down on all of the people that aren't lucky enough to get good fortune. And then the other person turns back around and answers with, there is life. Life can be obtained. Maybe you don't have the most lucky situations. Maybe you're being pessimistic, but we can still make it as long as we work together. There is love. Love only sustains. Love is just this like pretty fluffy romantic thing that people talk about and don't really understand. And then the other person turns around and says, no. Love only remains. Love is the only thing that really matters when we get down to it.
And something I'll add too is that I feel like a lot of people, when they're trying to decide if they want to like a lot of times you get that gut feeling like, hey, I should go help that person because they dropped something. I feel like a lot of times we like kind of have that internal struggle with ourselves, like, well, people are going to think I'm weird, but it's a really good thing to do. Like the back and forth, like Jack Elliott was just mentioning, I think we do that a lot inside instead of just, hey, this is a good thing, so I'm going to go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you remember that book, The Go-Giver?
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Anybody
out there should go read it.
You should go read it
if you're
if you're
interested. Part of the book talks about doing what you feel is right and following that instinct or that gut feeling, even if you think it'll make you look kind of dumb. Taking the initiative, being the first person to reach out might make you look a little silly, but that's okay because it's still the right thing to do.
I kind of started practicing doing that with simple stuff. Like if you are walking around and someone has a cool hat and you like see it and you're like, man, it's a cool hat. Just say so. Just tell them, hey, it's a cool hat. And you don't have to have a conversation. You can just walk past it, that's a cool hat. And just move on through the day. And maybe that'll be enough to distract them from whatever stress and bad crap that's going on in their day. They'll go, oh, that guy likes nice. And then it gives a little confidence boost. They feel a little better. A stranger reached out and made this tiny connection with them. And if everyone does that, that only lifts people up. Like, why not just do that?
A candle does not lose its flame by lighting another candle.
Nope, it doesn't. And something else I'll add too is that a lot of times, like, you don't know what other people are going through. And so even like the simplest compliment can go such a long way in someone's world.
Just be positive.
Everyone's got their own pains and struggles, and like everyone's been hurt somehow. But like Yuki's causing a storm
losing his mind
over here. What's more important to like the human race than supporting the human race? You know, like
some people would say money.
Yeah, a lot of people get.
But those people would be wrong.
Yeah. And it's not that money doesn't matter. Like we live in a world that's, unfortunately completely governed by money. So like you gotta be realistic. We made a point when we decided to come do this band. They're like, look, like we have to have jobs and we have to be able to pay the bills. We have to have a house and food first. So we gotta have a job. We have to pay the bills. That's just a reality.
Surviving is more important than our music.
Frankly.
Otherwise, then there's no music.
Don't like go out on like a crazy whimsical fairy tale. But also don't tell yourself that you can't go do these amazing things and that you can't make a difference, because that's just nonsense, frankly.
You want to talk about the last lines that we haven't talked about yet. When we start layering all of the pieces together, if you listen really carefully, you can hear the melody to the chorus that I'm singing, and then the melody to the bridge that Emma and Light are singing, and then Riley has another thing that he's saying.
Try to imagine with me and try to believe with me. It's an invitation to anyone that hears it. Be the best person you can be. Believe in yourself. Love yourself.
I've been accused of being idealistic by I don't even know how many people. And it's like, look, frankly, the world we live in, like the world of human beings on Earth, is a product of the like cumulative thoughts of all human beings across time. Where we are right now doesn't exist without people thinking about things that didn't exist. Humans make things, they invent stuff, they create things. This process of moving forward is what creates our reality from an idealistic impossibility. This process of moving forward is what creates our reality from an idealistic impossibility.
Honestly, I think all of us are a little idealistic. I wish more people in the world were idealistic. You have to be vocal about the things that you believe.
Yeah, and be an example of that. If you don't like being treated poorly, just call people out on it, man. Like, I don't ever have to like really get in people's face, but when people do something that's kind of crummy, I'm like, that makes me feel like flipping. If there's a group of them, they're picking on you, we think you're cool, and those people suck. And honestly, probably don't matter that much.
I'll give you 3 guesses to decide what side of that situation we were on when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Well,
we definitely weren't picked on ever.
No, we were always
Ever.
the cool kids.
I was so popular.
The most. Prospect, just to tie it all back in with a neat little bow to what we're talking about so far. Like all of Prospect is a lyrical expression of how we are choosing to live our lives. And then, like Riley said, it's an invitation for everybody else to join us, and we hope that everybody else takes it and runs with it.
We could even call us on our cell phone.
Phone number
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Hey, this is Jack Elliott from the future, putting together this date night video, and we ended up talking about a lot of really awesome things that I think are super important, and just because the video was so long, I had to cut a lot of it out. So we're gonna make another video specifically for everybody that we talked about, how much we love all of the support that we've been getting, and all of that kind of stuff. We've got a couple ideas that we've been talking about, so that's coming. I was kind of bummed about having to cut all of it out. Thanks for watching. Check in. We got a lot of new stuff coming. We got some more videos every Tuesday. We got more of these date nights. You can watch the live stream as we film it every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on our Facebook page, facebook.com/FatStallionBand. And yeah, please, if you want to see all of the new videos that we put out, we try to put out at least 1 video every week. Usually we put out 2 videos. We're going to get into more of a routine as we go along. Push subscribe so that you know when that happens. Let the notifications tell you everything. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, everything that you hate about what we do. We're going to try and change that so that we can be as good as we can possibly be. Love you. Bye.